It's DJ W, you dig? You're tuned in to KOOL Radio, your number one station for the truth about what's happening in the way out wasteland. But enough of my spouting. Let's warm up with some new hot licks.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Saturday here on Pod by Night, where we are going to be playing some Fallout RPG, brought to you by, well, Pod by Night, and Modifius, of course, who put this out. I actually say that because we can't make this channel happen without you, without your eyes, without your ears, and without your support. So if you are back here watching the show, or if you're tuning in on YouTube, we just want to say a big, big ol' thank you. I actually have something new to report this week, very exciting. Due to the state of Twitter, I guess you could say that it's no longer matching the values of Pod by Night. So we're expanding our social media platform. So for those of you that have been harping at us at like, I'm not a Twitter user. Well, guess what? We have added an Instagram. You can go find Pod by Night over on Instagram, where we're putting out some fun stuff. And I'm trying to make some ridiculous content using, well, the ridiculous content that all of these people create here live on the screen for you. Other than that, we want you to come join our Discord. Like, come chat with us, come be a part of what we're doing over there. We have a lot of people that, you know, like to hang out and talk about spoilery type stuff. And we just released some new Fallout themes specific to our show, not just general on Fallout, but our show, Fallout emotes over in the Discord. And it's free to join. Literally, there's nothing you have to do but click that link right there. If you want to take the next step, you can support us over on our Patreon, which makes our podcast possible. And oh, kitty. And if you want to support the efforts of the faces that you see here on the screen in front of you today, please make sure to tip your cast. That still says we're paying Shadows of Sybil, which is not true. We're paying Fallout Winter of Adam. I will correct that. But yes, all the money goes to the same place, and, you know, helps put kibble in the bottom of that bowl for Bub's fur baby right there. So we can't feed our pets without your help. All right, everybody. I think that's all I have. Did I miss anything? Anybody want to announce something awesome or cool?
No.
Okay. All right, cool. Great. I love this for us. Okay, well, I think that rolls us right into, drumroll please, the recap. When I asked who in the cast wanted to do the recap, there was cricket-level silence. So I decided that I would help them out today and kind of do a general recap, but they are each going to add something to it. So last time we found our friends, they had actually survived like a 5-day blizzard. And in the Fallout world, we call those a rad-izzard because it doesn't just blow snow, it blows excessive amounts of radiation along with the snow all over the place. And they were locked down in their new building, Neon Flats, inside of Good Neighbor. Some time had passed, Kalita had not returned, and I would say tensions were getting high, but things were getting a little weird locked inside Neon Flats. Sister Delilah talking to herself, Mason malfunctioning, and Mortimer just trying to keep it all together. But as soon as the storm and snow cleared, Good Neighbor was visited not by one, but 2 individuals. Kalita had managed to find her way back after Dogmeat's nose and trail had kind of run cold, and found them here in this little settlement, Good Neighbor, along with a new super mutant friend, businessman, we'll say, a business mutant, there you go. Our business mutant, Big Business, had shown up because he too had business in Good Neighbor, and with his help, Kalita made it through the door and to find her friends, which, funny enough, is exactly who Big Business was looking for, because Mayor Hancock made it very, very clear that to acquire Neon Flats, the team needed to do a couple really important things. They had to maintain a substantial business, which helped out the city of Good Neighbor. And two, they had to find his missing hat, the most important of all of this. And Big Business has been sent to assure that the deal from start to finish is clean. But Big Business brought some other news too, maybe some more personal interest of a hidden settlement that can turn junk into treasure, he said. And so the team, with very little information except a generalized multi-mile radius on the Commonwealth map, decided to just go out and start looking for it. Because supposedly this place, known as Beatsville, can only be found by a single man called Dead Drop Dave. And Big Business had some good news. He had a general idea of where one of the Dead Drop locations for Dead Drop Dave is. When you all arrived, you set up camp to watch, and when Dead Drop Dave, well, you don't know that's him yet, but when somebody arrived at the Dead Drop location, the option was very simple. They kidnapped him. They bound him, tackled him, bound him, and knocked him out until morning because they all wanted a good night's sleep. And that's kind of where we left off. I did a really surface level. But what I want to know from each of the cast are, for your character, what was the most important moment in last week's episode? And I can see the look on Tracy's face. Tracy, you can start.
Yes, you missed a very important detail of last week.
Tell me about it. Tell me about it.
That while we were on our way to this spot, we passed along a group of children of Adam who were like ships in the night passing toward us, heading to Diamond City. They were heading to Diamond City, of course, to meet their fellow children of Adam, as Diamond City is now, children of Adam City, really. And we had a moment of prayer together, and thankfully the rest of the crew was patient and allowed me to take a moment with my siblings. And they told me that behind hidden veils here, so that only I got to hear this, that I should, if we get to Beatsville, I should share I think what specifically they told me that they want it to belong to Adam.
He told you that the last son of Adam and his flock were actively looking for a place called Beatsville, filled with all of these creative minds, because the last son of Adam is looking to recruit them, these creative, innovative people, to join his flock.
Yes. Okay.
But you also know, and the real it was a complication, by the way. That's how all of this came about. The real complication is that this place, Beatsville, is only safe. They are a pacifist community, you had heard through Big Business, and they only remain in safety because of the fact they are in hiding. If people start finding out where they are, that safety could be challenged. But the last son of Adam's not going to hurt them, right, Sister Delilah?
Of course not.
That's totally not going to hurt them.
Never the goal. So
what about the rest of you? I had a feeling that was going to be the thing. That's why I didn't say it. I was like, this is going to be the thing, Tracy. Yep.
I think not it.
Okay.
You're up, Beb.
Mine is less of a specific moment, I guess, I guess it's the starting moment is what is important to Mortimer, because we have a home, at least for the moment, and we have a chance to make it permanent if we just find a stupid ass hat, basically.
But it's really a needle in a haystack in this wasteland world.
Yeah, so the thing that matters to Mortimer is the fact that, like, he has this chance to build something and have this place that can be a base to work from, that's the really important thing to him. And he's like, I'm getting this damn hat. I don't know where it is, or how I'm gonna find it. If I can't find it, I'm gonna make a hat.
Yeah, that it's true. I think there's something about, and we'll get into more of the homesteading of Neon Flats, which of course we left Grant behind. But yeah, it's not. Most people don't get permanent residence, not in the Commonwealth, anyways. It's not, especially in these conditions. And so, I like that idea that maybe Mortimer has. There's hope in having that building. That's awesome. All right, Zach, you're up. What does big business remember?
Yeah. So our last episode was my first episode on the Fallout show, and the first episode where we got to see Big Business, our new super mutant character. And so for me, getting to know about and meet the party members was definitely the highlight of everything. The first interaction with Kalita, and then with the rest of the party, Mortimer, Mason, but specifically, I think Big Business's biggest moment last session was how welcoming and accepting Sister Delilah was. And in particular, she perhaps may be one of the only people in his entire life who has not cowered or said, "A super mutant," as he is approached, but instead said that he was blessed and that, you are welcome among us. And so,
and that what most people would consider your flaws are what make you great.
Yeah.
Right.
And so this definitely an unexpected moment for me as a player, and really exciting too, because it's starting to permutate our super mutant friend in a new direction. I did not expect that maybe he is giving some credence to the idea of the children of Adam. So he's still a bit wary of it. Like at further into the session, when the children of Adam we interacted with on the road, he did not want to just go right up and pray. He wanted to sort of watch, but he's curious about it. And I think out of everyone, he feels comfortable around the party, I think. But he's very curious about what this children of Adam thing is.
Oh, yes. The great denominator of being extra welcoming. That's the first step to all great cults, right?
You got me.
All right, Mason. I know Mason's physical form is a struggle bussin', but what does Mason remember?
Mason particularly remembers the insert of the intelligent super mutant. He was befuddled by that, as he had never even heard of an intelligent super mutant, one that could not only communicate but could accept his position as a roaming Mr. Handy. And admittedly, I don't want to say it was rocky, but it was a slow start, because Mason is he's very wordy, he speaks fast, and his wit is faster. So it's difficult to have that. And everyone else has just been like, this guy's wonky. What is going on with this robot? But Big Miss is like, slow down. Just not slow down.
Different words, please.
Yeah. No, it's been really nice. But the revelation of, despite the fact that his body is dimming, it's leading to failure, that his heart goes on for one nuclea.
That no draining of any battery will ever drain that heart.
Yes, nuclea. It was the revelation by Kalita. Kalita found the charcoal sketch in his body when trying to discern what exactly was happening. So it is pressing that he reach a point of repair, because he's not had a charge in, well, probably longer than anyone else in the current party has been alive. But he's starting to lose functionality. So let's hope that we can get that fixed, remedied sooner before later.
That little limp limb.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we did leave off with, it was nighttime when this individual came through, and the dead drop location was a random stroller by a bus stop. And when you pulled the lid up, do you remember what you found in it before he got there?
Bunch of cans?
It was a bunch of junk.
Exactly, a bunch of junk. And what you witnessed him do was remove all the junk and kind of put it into a large side bag that he was carrying, and he replaced it with a stack of papers before closing it and walking away, in which the decision was made by Big Business to, do business. And he ran him down, knocked him out, and brought him back to camp. And then all of you decided, instead of interrogating him in the middle of the cold dark, Why not get a good night's rest and deal with it in the morning? And all of you, well, I guess Mason, you're not. You would be able to watch him all night. He pretty much sleeps all night. You would know that if he does have a concussion, that could be a bad thing. But you know what? The likelihood... It's a 50-50 chance, probably. It's a 50-50 chance.
But just hit him again. It just should knock it back into place. That's how it works, right?
With a 50-50 chance. But he does breathe. He is breathing all through the night. You kind of make sure that he never really bleeds. It was kind of a bonk on the head. And as the sun begins to rise, he wakes up. And you can see he's gagged, probably, hands bound. And he's very disoriented. And he's kind of like looking around trying to figure out what happened. And when he realizes it, the rest of the party still soundly asleep through the night, he begins to kind of rustle and scream from underneath his gag.
Calm yourself. Calm yourself. It's just you and I now.
And he kind of starts...
referred to as Dead Drop Dave.
He kind of deadpan stops and looks you right in your eye stalks. And he shakes his head no, but his eyes say yes.
You can't lie to Savoy. A master in these arts, trained. Been honed in fires forged longer than you've been alive.
And he starts kind of trying to worm his body out of this decrepit building that you have kind of holed up by this, inside of.
Further in big business will be startled.
So you point... remember him. He looks at the super mutant who's
just staring at him.
And he starts all over again once big business is up.
Definitely the sort of thing that big business has learned. This is a superpower that he has, is he can just like stand with his chest puffed out and do the Kubrick stare. And that's enough.
You can see cold tears kind of welling up in the bottom of his eyes. Mortimer and Sister Delilah, you can't miss the ruckus.
Fear not, Dave. We simply have a few questions. You can walk out of this alive still. Though I am a simple Mr. Handybot, Savoy, if you will, and that there, this super mutant friend of mine, big business, we are not the ones to be concerned of. The normal-looking one. His gun is sharp. The bullets will pierce through you multiple times. You will die before the night is over. Just answer our questions. This will be simple.
I don't think there's any need for any bullets.
Oh, there's like his whole body, like there's like a sigh of relief when you say that, Mortimer. And he kind of looks at you, it's like, oh, this is the good cop. Oh, the good cop. And he kind of like worms over on the ground, the cold ground next to you, like, please, please, please help me.
Easy. We captured you because we imagined that it was probably the only way this is going to work.
Does anybody pull his gag off, or y'all just gonna let him sit there?
I'll go and I'll take the gag off.
If this is the route we're going, then I will drop the charade. I never intended to kill you, Dave.
And you can see he kind of takes you all in. This guy looks a little like... He's like a Fallout Big Lebowski. Like, he's got this long jacket on made of kind of patchwork pieces, but it's really... I'd say it's nice. It's not a robe, but it's new. It's fresh. His clothes underneath, other than the dirt he's gotten on them because of all of laying on the ground all night and being tackled and those kinds of things, were nice clothes. And he's kind of got a little bit of a, I wouldn't call it a scraggly beard, but it's not fully grown in. And the look under his eyes, and he goes... Whoa. There's no need for violence. I'll answer your questions. That's what I was trying to tell you, but I was all gagged. We can be chill about it.
Yeah, sorry, my friend is the theatrical type.
Oh, your friend likes theater. I've seen good theater recently. True story.
It keeps things interesting.
Big business will lean forward and... we'll say, where is Beatsville?
Oh, man, I was afraid you were going to ask me that question. Dude, look, I can't tell you where Beatsville is. It's kind of my one job. Well, that and bringing the stuff back. And he points to the sack of junk that is probably set nearby.
What if we just I don't know, just shadowed you, pretend this is like some sort of thing where you don't have to tell us where it is. We just follow you along.
Um, what business do you have with Beatsville?
We are looking for people, and I want to do business.
I point at my Brahmin, which is grazing.
Oh, okay. So he looks at the Brahmin. And he goes, "Oh, that's a mighty fine collection you've got there." And you said you're looking for someone. And he kind of looks at the rest of the group, like, who?
We shouldn't tell you.
Well, then I shouldn't tell you where Beatsville is, man. Fair's fair.
Oh, perhaps we should be a bit more candid. Dave, my name is Savoy. I am a skulker of the night, a purveyor of fine things, all shiny and wares beyond. I am seeking for, I'm sure you've noticed, my sordid affair, this limp appendage behind myself. I'm dragging it. I'm seeking a charge. The Beatsville happens to have a means of rectifying my impotence, if you will.
I mean, maybe, man. That's a lot of energy. He kind of looks you up and down, and he says, "So you're not looking for someone, you're just looking for a battery?"
We're also looking for a hat.
Oh, well, man, Beatsville's got a lot of hats. We got a whole hat maker.
So we've heard.
So you're really just looking for Beatsville to sell your stuff and...
I know we
buy a
appear
hat?
Well,
out of sorts. Look at us, we're a ragtag group, very motley by design, but no ill intentions whatsoever.
we're also looking on leads about a guy, vault dweller that might have been in the area. We think he's headed out, but maybe
Well, I don't...
people at Beatsville might have come across him.
He looks like after everything else said, there's a lot running around in his head. Here's the question. You said none of you mean ill intent. Does that include Sister Delilah?
I do not have anything of ill intent. Sister Delilah doesn't share the that information.
Okay. So
She
y'all
knows
look
there'll
like
be too many questions.
perfect angels who have bound this man. Okay. He says, well, I'm not gonna fight you, cause like I'm a pacifist, man. This is all for show, and he points to like the pistol at his hip.
I can see
Fine
that.
by me.
We've also heard that Beatsville is a place of culture, a place for individuals looking to start right.
It's
And
more than culture, man. It's an ethos. It's the future.
perhaps your ethos and future has a bit more of a cultured style, in particularly hair. I have mastered the art of follicular scalping and shunting.
He kind of thinks, like, do they have a barber on site? He thinks about that, and he says, okay. All right. He kind of looks you all up and down, and he says, but, like, you're going to have to leave your guns at the door, man.
Fine with me.
And I like lean back holding my briefcase.
That's reasonable.
As for the Vault Dweller, look, man, I've never seen a Vault Dweller before. I mean, out and about on the occasion, but, we got a kid with us at Beatsville. She rolled in. I saved her from the glowing sea. She says she came from a vault. Maybe she's seen him.
Worth a look.
What is the number?
I
It's
don't
40,
really
right?
know, man. She's
Or I guess-
the one Kalita's
Oh.
husband came from.
Mm.
Yeah, Vault 40.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're
but
looking
big
for
business. I'm asking if he said that
The girl.
he's seen a girl who's a vault dweller,
Mhm.
and so big business says,
What is her number?
He goes, I don't know, man. She hadn't lived in a vault in a long time. She came from a different community, so she says. But I guess she's quiet.
Okay.
it'd be interesting to meet.
Yeah, we could do
I gesture
that.
in the direction of Kalita, who is totally here.
Yeah, Kalita and Dogmeat. I imagine Kalita hears all of that and would probably at least want to follow up if there's another vault dweller in the area. And Dogmeat sees that Dead Drop Dave is of absolutely no, like threat. And Dogmeat kind of comes up and licks the side of his face a little bit while he's sitting there bound, and he goes, "So, I will take you to Beatsville. But you can't tell anybody."
Oh, heavens no, why would we tell anyone?
Well, because you're about to see something you've never seen before.
Ah, yes, ethos. The future.
Sounds like a good deal to me. If it's got to stay secret and we get to be in on the secret, I'll keep it.
I don't even have lips.
Right. So who's gonna untie me?
I'll untie him.
Yeah.
But I'm keeping close, just in case.
Yeah, he kind of stands up and stretches, and you can see he's actually pretty well fed. He's got like a little belly on him. He's got that dad bod vibe, and he kind of stretches and checks for all of his gear to see what was dropped, and he picks his bag up, and you can hear all the clattering of the junk in it as he tosses it back on his shoulder. He says, "It's funny. Y'all are actually really close."
Big Business will look at the bag of junk, and he dropped papers in the dead drop point, right?
Yeah, he put some kind of stack of papers in the carriage.
And those papers are still there, because we didn't.
Assumably, yeah.
Okay. Big Business will stay next to this guy, who I guess we haven't confirmed necessarily is Dead Drop.
He has not officially confirmed that or denied it, though. I imagine that's part of his stick.
He'll say to someone,
I will make sure he doesn't run away. We need to grab what is in the thing.
No, man. Those aren't for you. That's for somebody else.
What is it?
The flyers, man.
For what?
Well, for whatever the customer wanted.
Can I look at them?
I guess.
and I kind of push him by the back of his shoulders, and I push him in the direction.
All right, man. And he lifts it up, and you see the stack of papers kind of has like string around it that has like bound it together, and he wiggles free one of the pieces of papers, and he flips around and he shows you. It is who do I want to do? This one is for it's an advertisement for the Mirage.
So you print flyers in return for junk?
Yeah, it's pretty easy. We have a machine, if you can believe it, does all the printing. If you see a new flyer around the Commonwealth, boy howdy, you can bet it came from us.
I did wonder who was making those.
And then Kalita, I imagine, goes in her pockets to find all the flyers that her husband has collected, right? Yeah.
Right. He'll kind of cross his arms and say,
"All right, take us to Beatsville."
Okay, just stay close. I don't usually travel with people. And he kind of adjusts his bag as he sets out, kind of leaving the main strip of town, cutting into the open, empty kind of area. And you all weren't terribly far. In fact, I believe it was this junction up here you were at. And as you walk today, the weather is not too terribly bad. And because he knows where he's going, he knows exactly where to lead you. And in the distance, you begin to see a flashing light. And he points, he says, "You see that? That's the radio tower." He looks really proud almost of it. And then he realizes, with the caravan and everything, he says, "But I don't think y'all are going to fit, I mean, no offense, in the back door, you know, man. So we're going to go in the front. So keep a low profile. No noise."
No noise.
All right.
And you'll
We'll
yeah.
do our best. And I look at like, the giant hulking super mutant in the party.
Definitely gonna be difficult, but he seems to have an idea of like the best places to hide. He tells you when to stop if he hears something. Imagine actually big business, because I love chaos. At one point he asked y'all to kind of get off the road and hide behind some debris, some cold debris, and he points and you can see a caravan, like a traveling caravan. This is the woman who told you about Dead Drop Dave. She's clearly in the area looking for him, but like,
I see.
hasn't found him, you know what I mean? She's actually headed in the absolute wrong direction. She's going back the way y'all came.
Okay. I think big business will point in her direction. Do I know her name?
You sure do. But I can't remember it off the top of my head. Do you kind of shout her name out, or do you let them know?
No, yeah, I turn to the rest of the party and I say,
Oh, that's the lady that told me about this place. You know her?
and I stare down at the men.
He says, yeah, her and her team are all over this place. I'm always dodging them left and right, man. Her name is Linda. Linda.
I say to this guy,
What's your problem with Linda?
Oh, no, man. I don't have any problem with Linda. I'm chill. I met Linda's a nice lady, but like I said, she's got a large caravan. And Linda has 4 women that are in her merchant caravan that go with her. He says it's we're not an open community, I guess you could say. What I'm doing for us right now in this very moment is kind of breaking the rules.
do I know if Linda would be in need of Beatsville? Like when she told me about it, was it in the essence of like, I've been looking for this place forever?
It's
if
more
I tell you
in
about
the
it, you can help me find
it's
it?
more in the essence of like a prospector has gone out and found a bunch of gold and he can't find a fence to buy it. So she's a junk collector and she collects it on a massive scale, hauled by a Brahmin like team in this big wagon. She has been collecting junk, which everybody told her she was crazy for. And she believes that her opportunity is to find this place to sell it all or repurpose it, right? So she's not desperate, like she's not destitute, but she's definitely a struggling business person because she sells, it's like who needs a Radio Shack when you have an Apple store?
Okay, I'll look down at the guy and say,
I'm surprised you don't work with her. She has lots of junk. You turn junk into treasure.
She's a junk trader?
Yes.
Wicked, man. And he kind of peeps up over the rock to get a better look, and he said, good to know, big business. Maybe I can add it to my loops.
All right.
And he says,
I just kind of look at her.
And he says, but remember, big business, nobody knows. You can't tell her, man.
What will happen?
I don't really know. What if one of the people on her team tells somebody else? And a bunch of raiders find out, dude. Or like a super mutant or something. I mean, other super mutants or something. Or I heard the Minutemen are looking for us.
I look over at Mortimer.
Are you a Minuteman? And he kind of has like a moment of panic, like it's
No.
already too late.
No. I've done some contract work or something, and I won't tell him.
I mean, I don't think they mean us any harm, but the community's already in a shakeup, and everybody's all upset at the jam bakers, man, and it's not a party anymore, And the more chaos we add to it, the crazier things get.
Well, if you're taking care of yourselves, then don't see why the Minutemen need to get involved.
That's what I'm trying to say there, big business. And he kind of he doesn't really. He lightly taps Mortimer on the arm with the fist, and he says, okay, they're gone. Come on. We're almost there. And you pass the radio tower, which to your surprise is just a tower. There's not even a building attached to it. You don't see a door. It's just an active radio beacon, which is located... Actually, I'll take us over the map so everybody sees what y'all see. Which is located here on the map. And he kind of cuts across this field, and it looks like he's headed into another kind of small leveled town, or like a centralized area that probably at one point had a decent building or two, a Red Rocket truck stop, these kinds of things. And you come up over a hill down frozen streets, and what he leads you to is the front of a junkyard called Big John's Salvage. Big John's Salvage is what it says. And actually, for those Fallout 4 fans, you probably know this location. It unfortunately does not have Beatsville there in the game, but, you know, I'll copy an image here and send it over to my friends. That way you'll have an idea. So Big John Salvage is a massive junkyard that is mostly populated with old cars and container units, big container units like truck freight. And at this point, it's all covered in snow. Most of the bottom tier of freight containers can't even really be seen. It's just the colorful tops that poke out, or the old end of a bus on one side. And you see Dead Drop Dave like look around, and he pulls a contraption, we'll call it for now, because he hasn't completely activated it, out of his bag. And it looks to be pretty simple, made of what we would consider simple machines, screws, light gears, maybe a pulley system of some kind on it. And he goes, go, 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 through that gate. And he points to the front gate of Big John Salvage, which is, at one point would have been closed, but is now pretty decrepit. He goes, I'll meet you over there by the corner of that building. Go!
I get hustling.
Okay.
Big Business is going to stand his ground and say,
No, you will just run away.
He says, no, dude, I got you this far. I got to cover our tracks. And he points to this strange machine in his hand.
Can I make some sort of check to see if he's telling the truth or not?
You're welcome to. Or, I mean, he looks at you, he goes, okay, go. You can walk. You can walk with me, all right? But I got to walk in your tracks. Yeah?
That should be easy. I'll take tiny, tiny steps.
And as you begin to walk, he walks with his back to you because he's backing up. And you see him kind of take a hand crank on this thing. It's long, and has an end almost like a rake. And he cranks it up, and you hear it kind of, and as he sets it in the snow, it vibrates the snow and knocks it in on itself. So it redusts the snow path, so feet are not here. And he kind of like, it makes a light vibration as he kind of runs you back, and then he eventually walks you straight into the same gate and to the edge, and he looks around to make sure you're not followed, nobody saw you, and he says, this way, and he bolts kind of behind this first set of double stacked red freight containers, and he reaches over and he bangs on one of them, like there's a hollow tin sound, and he makes sure, again, nobody heard, nobody saw. And there's a very extended pause as you all kind of wait in the cold snow. Do you say anything, or do y'all just wait?
We wait.
Yeah.
All right. You wait. And you do for about a minute and a half, maybe 2 minutes, before he even begins to get antsy. And then eventually you can hear from inside the kind of light sound of like metal scraping almost. And eventually the door to the container unit opens, not out, but in. And standing there in front of you is a man dressed in all white, a cotton top and a like cotton woven pants to go along with it. And he's super clean. Not a extraordinary man in terms of his size or the way that he looks. He's pretty average, but he's got this warm, welcoming glow about him, and he smiles when he sees Dead Drop Dave, and he smiles when he sees all of you, and without a stain on him, and in this kind of warm voice, he simply says, "Ah, Dead Drop Dave, I thought we had lost you. We haven't heard from you in almost a week. Come in, and I see you've brought friends." And he kind of looks at all of you, kind of lined up, and he says, "But do hurry. We don't want to get caught out here with our pants down." He's kind of like
a head nod, like a tip, and I'm gonna follow in.
He's like your cheesy uncle. A little bit, who like went to the top of a mountain and did one day at a retreat or something, and has kind of like decided he's all zen now. That's the vibe you get from this guy. And Dead Drop Dave, he says, "Come on quickly," as he leads you down. It is wide enough actually for you to bring the caravan, to bring your Brahmin.
Okay. Cool.
Granted, I don't know how you're going to get back upstairs, but that's a problem for another day. So they lead you down, and as you head into this container, it drops into the earth. Like there is a hand carved flight of stairs that go underneath everything, and the latch is like bolted back, and the llama begins to walk all of you, and he says, "It seems that all of you have come a rather long way to find our quaint little community. We don't get visitors very often."
Big Business will narrow his eyes and say,
Are you a child of Adam?
Oh, no. No. He smiles as if that's a ridiculous idea. He says, "I am the llama."
The llama.
Yes, I guess you could say, chosen or gifted leader of this community, though we of course have no specific political or governmental system. I care a lot about the people here in this community. And as you walk down this massive flight of stairs into what you think is darkness, you actually round a corner into an extraordinary sight. An massive underground kind of open space that is filled with junk and colors and stalls and people dressed in outrageous clothing, not affected by any outside or old world culture. It's entirely their own. These people wear odd things in their hair, and they paint their faces in weird ways, and there's not a single weapon. And right before the llama lets you go through, he says, "I'm so sorry, but I am going to have to ask you to leave your weapons in the bucket." And he points to kind of a big barrel where there's not really a lot of weapons. There's like a scimitar or like a machete type thing, and like an old pipe pistol that somebody probably gave up. And he says, "Usually weapons don't ever leave this barrel, because neither does anybody that likes to come to Beatsville, but you're welcome to take them upon your exit."
Like, Mortimer's in awe of what he's looking at, and he's just like I think it's like he's looking at like this crazy sight in front of him that's unlike anything he's ever seen, and he just like without looking like puts his gun in the barrel.
Yeah. The people here look pale because they don't really see sunlight, but they look well fed and happy. Smiles and joy kind of fills the air, and the llama says, "Welcome to Beatsville, the hippest place in all the wasteland."
It's quite lovely. Sister Delilah will put her weapon in there as well.
Big Business will try to he has just his briefcase in his left hand, so he's just going to continue holding it, hoping that he doesn't recognize that it's his weapon.
Oh, I see. Yeah, he probably won't make you put your briefcase down. As a pacifist society, they couldn't even possibly imagine somebody beating another human being with a briefcase, so that doesn't even cross his mind. And once weapons are put down, he welcomes you kind of into the space, and this feels like what we would consider a flea market. Repurposed junk, brand new clothing on racks woven from plastics and aluminums and upcycled materials. You can hear the sound of a sewing machine and people laughing and singing. And off at the far corner, you see a vibrant sign that says "On Air." And it's like above a single door. And he says, well, Dead Drop Dave, I'm sure you are tired. Let me take the guest off your hands and go enjoy a hot meal. And Dead Drop Dave does not question that. He takes the sack of goods and leaves. He's hungry. He's been on the road for almost a week. And the llama looks at all of you as if taking you all in. And he says, now how did the 5.5 of you find Beatsville?
Is it day or night? I'm guessing it's daytime now.
It is. It would be probably lunchtime at this point.
But we're underground.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
This is tricky.
Yeah. Is the transition tied to a certain light level?
You don't know. I guess you'll find out.
I mean, if it was, then he would turn into Savoy anytime he was in a building.
Guess
I think that it would probably be mask off at this point. And you can it's really like, as far as physical gestures go, Mason's 2 functional arms are crossed as he hovers in front of, like, with everyone else. You can tell, like, he's not buying what's being sold right now.
Yeah, you're not buying in yet. Actually, I have a picture. I'll have to get a better one. Actually, into Roll20, I realized I didn't have one, but there's our Beatsville.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Selling all kinds of stuff. You see somebody painting, like actually painting, not like weird abstract colors. And these people seem to be unaffected by whatever is on the surface. They live in this little bubble in a way.
It's almost like a vault.
Almost. Who would have thought? And he says, let me ask a better question. What brings you all to Beatsville?
We've got a couple things we're looking for.
Oh, well, Beatsville has a lot to offer.
That's what we heard.
Anything in particular, or do you just want to browse? Because Artist Alley, well, it could take you all day. And he gestures, meaning the space that you're in is known as Artist Alley.
I point at the group and say,
they need to find a hat.
Well,
We either need to find a hat or a man who can make a hat.
Very specific type of hat.
okay. Well, you're staring at the greatest makers and probably all of the Commonwealth. I'm sure we could make a hat for you. Is there... Well, I'm not really a hat maker. I'm a playwright myself. He seems very proud of that fact. And he says, but I'm sure we have someone here. Oh, yes. If I remember correctly, there is a tailor down at the end. What is his name? Oh, yes, we call him the Jester.
The Jester.
Well, yes, the Jester.
And they are a crafter of hats?
A crafter of hats and bad jokes.
Interesting combination. Well, perhaps we stop there first then and see what they have to offer.
He says you're absolutely welcome to. I could give you a tour around. I imagine you're going to stay the night.
Yes, actually a tour would be nice, just so we can see what's around.
I'm confused.
By the tour or the hat?
By you, the Dave guy, he was so secret about this place, but you are so welcoming.
Our autonomy assures security and safety for our community. If we let everybody in the door, well, that autonomy goes away. Dave has served this community well for a very long time, and if he brought you to my door, then he must have seen something special in you.
Now we're in.
Okay.
And he says,
All
I
right.
mean, look at you. A vault dweller, a intelligent super mutant, a Mr. Handy, Mr. Barber. He's not sure what to exactly call you. He says,
Please call me Mason.
oh, yes, of course, Mason. He looks at Sister Delilah and he says, and a child of Adam. And he points at your
I guess that,
Yeah.
I'm not very secretive about it.
Yeah. And he looks at Mortimer and he says, but you're an interesting one. You carry all the presence of a Minuteman or a rogue. But there's something in your eyes.
Big Business will lean down to look in Mortimer's eyes.
You don't see anything but his eyes.
As you lean down, it's like,
He says, yes, if you look close enough, you can see the rebellion. And here at Beatsville, we do love a good rebel. Well, come along. Let's start this tour, and then you can shop and eat to your heart's content. And he begins kind of walking through, and you weave in and out of all these spaces, and you realize that all of these shopping stalls, these booths, are kind of like a work-live space. That people live in one portion of the back half of it, and then there's like a front stall where they sell their wares, and each one has its own modus operandi. This one looks like to be some tailor. This is a painter. You see a working typewriter, not a broken one. And as he leads you through to the far end, you pass the on-air sign and enter kind of a back wall into a new space. And it opens up into a rotund room with a high dome ceiling. And all across the floor are pillows. And you can see a few people sit here. They meditate. Maybe they're talking or having a picnic. It seems to be like a shared communal space. And off on the left, there are a few kids playing. You actually hear the laughter of children. And it probably catches Kalita's ear first, as these kids are maybe kicking a ball around, a soccer ball or something like that. And as they run past you all, like giggling and laughing, left behind is one little girl. She sits against the wall, kind of cupping her knees, and she's vigorously writing in what would be a diary or a journal. She seems uninterested in either the rest of the kids or the other kids are interested in her. And as you walk in, the Lama says, welcome to our meditation chamber, a place for community. Some call it the amphitheater because of the stage, and he gestures to one end of the round room where there is like a carved out stage space, and you can see all this band equipment on the stage, a set of drums and like, I don't know, a stand-up bass probably or something like that, and all of these instruments. And he says, but this is where we celebrate. This is where it's essentially a hub for joy of our community. It really is. And he waves to somebody on a pillow, good morning, it's good to see you. Yes, good to see you today. And everybody's kind of whispering a little bit about y'all. They clearly don't get to see outsiders very often, especially not as eclectic as this group.
Sister Delilah is you can see, you all might be able to tell, she's not saying anything, but she's got a little bit of a judgmental look on her upon looking at all of these individuals, but she's not speaking up right now.
The same probably applies for Mason. He's, while normally very loud, he is
Mason,
very staunch
there
with his
is
response.
a lot of hair here. Everybody has hair. Long. Somebody's got dreads. Like, these people are healthy and they have hair to spare.
He's struggling right now, Doc. He's struggling.
Maybe one of the stalks twitches as like a woman walks by with this big head of curly hair that hasn't been tamed in years, probably. She's got it held back with a measly scarf.
I think for Mortimer, he's just like in awe of all of this, just like taking it in eyes wide at, like, you know, everything's like clean and everything works. And like, I think there's a moment like when he sees like a bunch of kids playing and like a kid, like a little kid writing a journal.
Yeah.
Which is just like the whole combination of different incredible things in one image. I think like you like anyone looking closer might catch him like maybe starting to well up a little bit, and then he hears the word meditation, his eyes narrow, and he goes straight back to like, I don't know about this. It's like this is amazing. It's like just hang on, no. It isn't that simple. It's never that simple.
Yeah. And he says, well, you'll be all glad to know that nobody is required to meditate. There are no rules here at Beatsville, except that we do no harm to each other or to the world around us. We have a deep passion for bringing new things to the Commonwealth.
Like
What do you do?
Well, like the clothes I'm wearing, or the painting, or the flyers that I'm sure you saw Dead Drop Dave dropping off? He kind of questions if maybe that's where y'all met him. And he points off to a corner, and you can see this massive machine. Mason, you're the only one that would know what it is because you were pre-war, but it is a printing press. It's like a standalone printing press. It's manual. You have to like hand crank it, but you can see the papers kind of laying around and the misprints and things. Like it's a printing press. And he says, there is no religion here in Beatsville. Our only religion is creativity at all costs.
What do you do for food?
It's a great question. Follow me this way. And he walks through another door at the end. This place seems to be kind of built almost like a crop circle. There are like multiple round rooms, and it's long and narrow, and it's clearly under the earth. And he leads you in kind of the next section, which has a massive long table in it. And at the long table sit a couple people enjoying maybe a late breakfast or an early lunch. Clearly it's a family style dining situation for everyone. And against the back area, you can't miss it, which is they have built kind of hydroponic basins. Not an extreme amount, like we're not talking like, illegal growing facility, but we are talking about, enough to feed this community. They don't need outside food. There is like fresh tacos, and the way that they've got it set up, they're bouncing light from above in to grow these things. They've clearly got some kind of generator, some generalized electricity, because you can see the cables running, and they have to power the radio station. So yeah, and you can see that they have plenty of food. There's like a kitchen off to one side, and people are already preparing. Everything seems to be like mass cooking, mass serving for the community at large, but they have their own hydroponic like setup, and the basins are built out of old cars from above.
And are they growing crops down here?
Yep. They've got tato and corn and probably some kind of wheat, razor grain, I think is what it's called in Fallout. Yeah, they've got like fresh bread on the table. They make everything. They've got food.
If there's bread, big business will grab some and break bread and pass some to the group, and he'll smell it to make sure, or to see what it smells like.
It smells wonderful. Like, I don't know the last time, big business, you've smelled freshly baked bread, like made from scratch.
I don't think I ever have.
Freaking yeast. Like, that is this. Like, they have a kiln off to the side where they're kind of like a big oven. And there's like baskets of fresh bread. It's warm.
I will take a bite.
It's really good in your mouth. These are probably like, they're not really a biscuit. They're more like a roll. It's a little denser. But yeah, it's just like, it's warm and tasty. It's probably made from some kind of wheat grain. They might have put like butter on the top of it, which I don't know that you've ever tasted before. You don't even know probably how to make butter. But yeah, they have, it's absolutely delicious. And the roll is big enough you eat it in one bite, the whole thing. It's a one bite thing for you. And as you reach for some, a couple people are like, oh, as they've never probably seen a super mutant before. They don't even know what to expect. But the older lady across the table like raises the basket for you to take one. She says, best bread in all the Commonwealth.
Bread. It is good. You should have some.
Oh, I have. Two, in fact.
Know them.
I point at
Oh, she says, here, please, take some. And she just willingly offers this basket of bread off to the group.
Take a roll.
It's been a long time since I've had fresh bread.
The llama smiles as if like, it's not really a gotcha smile as much as it is like he's pleased that somebody maybe can acknowledge the community, right? Because it doesn't get seen, and it is such a beautiful thing that is kept from the world. And to get to see all of you participate makes him happy.
Business will look at the printing press in the distance and then look at Mason and ask the llama,
Do you have bots, machines like him?
I point at Mason.
He looks to Mason. He says, do we have someone that can fix him?
Well, yeah, I guess.
We do have a robotics specialist, I guess you could say, on hand, though I am not the one to deduce the problem. He looks at Mason, trying not to insult you, you know what I mean? Like, he is genuinely trying to be kind. And he says, but I'm sure we can figure out something for you.
Thank you. If you would be so kind as to guide us in that direction, that would be very helpful.
Of course. And he says, let's continue. And he kind of takes you back to what is some kind of power electrical room. There is a running generator. And back here you can see there's just a little guy, little, small king energy at like a table, and he's hammering away at a piece of metal. We love our small kings. And he turns around with these kind of big spectacles on, and he blinks multiple times. And he says, don't bother me today. I'm busy. I have work to do. And it's like, what is he busy possibly doing? The llama says, I understand, but it would be nice for you to welcome our guest, as one of them has a problem. And he points kind of to Mason. And the spectacles turn to you, Mason. His eyes from underneath the Coke bottle, like frames, look as big as your octacles do. As he kind of stares at you. And he walks over and looks at you as if you're not even really there, that you're just an object, which maybe you're used to, Mason, but the rest of you are not. And he picks up your arm and lets it like limply drop as he kind of, and he says, I'm so sorry to say, Mr. Handy.
Mason.
Mason.
Please refer to me as Mason.
He says, I'm so sorry. Mason, I'm sorry to tell you, this looks like a battery issue, and I have nothing that could charge you here. He looks you up and down and kind of takes you in. He says, but I could temporarily resolve your limp arm.
Oh, well, it is unfortunate to hear this news. To temporarily bring me back to a position of operation, it would simply render my charge fleeting even faster.
Yes, he comes over and he tightens a few things, and that's more like just kind of putting you back in place, and he says, well, to assure your arm doesn't drag behind you, I could put it in a sling.
I suppose that could be helpful.
He goes and gets just like a piece of long fabric, and he slings up around your massive body the one kind of limp arm and that L-shaped kind of way. So now, Mason, you're not dragging it, so it won't bump into things. Your arm is in a sling, and he does tighten a few things down. And he says, usually I'd say that Beatsville has everything that you could ever want, but in this case, we don't. You need the help of the sisters. And you see the llama's face kind of shift. Like, one, how does he know something like that? And two, like, why would you suggest to them? And he says, they're not far from here, but you're going to want to go to Meckminster Abbey.
Does Mason know about this place?
You do not, Mason. The only person that might have heard of it would have been Mortimer.
If you would be so kind, please indulge my curious mind. My interest has been piqued. I bought the whole chair, but I only need the edge.
He says, I don't actually know much about them. Just, they're holed up in a church or something. East of here. They're supposed to be the best of the best when it comes to fixing your mechanical needs, though I tend to think that I'm the best of the best. And the llama says, no egos here.
I think Mason would probably turn to Delilah, Mortimer, and business, and he, like, his hands kind of come up, and he does the little claw thing again, where he's touching fingertips.
If I can be so candid, so frank and honest, I crave for every circuit to continue humming, every servo purring like a pre-war Cadillac. I wish my wit to be as sharp as opposed to dulled. If I could continue being your steadfast companion and make a request, please. I wish for my potential to be brimming once more. May we see Meckminster Abbey?
Sure.
Yes, I'm quite curious.
Mortimer, the only thing you would know about Meckminster would have been through word of mouth, word of mouth, which is that they are said to be like the anti-Children of Adam in some way. They are a all femme or femme-identifying group of women who have converted a church into a forge. And they serve the people, and they worship light, fire. Many
sounds kind of sick.
Oh, they're
I was going to say that actually sounds good.
The Minutemen keep close contact with them because they're supposed to be close to the fort. So if you know anything about Fallout, let me see if I can scroll a little bit here to the right.
And what's the name of their group again?
You don't know their name. Their location is called Meckminster Abbey.
Okay.
He did call them the Sisters. You would know that, Mortimer, they're called the Sisters of the Wrench.
Okay. So the reputation is that they're good people. They're usually helpful.
They are the best people. Like if there are refugees that can make it as far out as they are. So the Minutemen Fort is here, and you know that the church has to be close to this location because the Minutemen deal with these ladies directly to fix armor and weaponry, and they buy new stuff. But you yourself have never dealt with them. Many people have talked about seeking refuge in a place called Limbo, which is the open communal, like, safe haven for people that have nowhere else to go. They're basically nuns. They're nuns who worship, I don't know, blacksmithing, basically.
Damn.
Yeah,
That's
they were just like, I've heard that they're good people, no trouble. We could absolutely visit them, see what they can do.
I would be absolutely delighted, and in your debt.
Well, the Llama says, well, don't go too soon. Tonight is a very special night. You're going to want to stick around for this one.
What is tonight?
Well, he says, the band is playing.
The band?
Oh, the band, of course. We know them.
Yes, we have
heard of them.
a concert this evening. After dinner, of course. The Jam Bakers, I'm sure you've heard them.
This place is just booming with activity and events.
Well, creativity at all cost.
Well, the band, like, you play it from the radio?
Well, they do play on the radio, but the Jam Bakers are our resident band. They play on a stage live for us. Hopefully, we'll continue to play live for us.
Why do you say that?
He takes a deep breath and he says, please, let's continue our tour, as he walks and talks. And he says, I guess you could say that some creativity is too big to be kept a secret. The Jam Bakers are interested in going on tour. And their interest in leaving the community has arisen some concern regarding our safety. But that's neither here nor there. Come. As he rounds the corner, he bumps into the little girl that was writing in her journal all by herself. And you can see she gets kind of startled, and he does too. And he says, oh, Muse, you scared me. He says, are you all right? And she nods, says nothing, and kind of hugs the book tight to her chest. She keeps her eyes to the floor. And he says, I'd like to introduce you all to our newest resident of Beatsville. This is Muse. Muse, say hello. And she raises her eyes just enough to, like, wave at you, and then goes back to her book.
Where is she from?
When you say that, she looks up at you. This little girl, she's not even probably knee high on you. Big business. She looks up at you as if you just asked the one question she doesn't want anybody to ask. And the Llama says, we found Muse. Well, Dead Drop Dave did, somewhere on the edges of the glowing sea. We have yet to be able to get her to reveal exactly where she is from. Isn't that right, Muse? And she nods as if, like, she's not going to. But Muse here is a fantastic poet, aren't you, Muse? And she kind of nods, and he says, and she's welcome here in our community. We've given her a safe place. He leans into all of you so the kid can't hear it, and he says, from what we can tell, she's on the run.
You know that gif of calculus drifting by the woman's face?
Yeah,
That's happening to big business right now as he pieces, and we see the final equation is 1 + 1 = 2. And he looks down, he says,
The sea. Your number. Do you have a number?
And I kind of like step out of the way and point at Kalita's uniform.
She looks at Kalita and like sees a vault dweller, and she almost looks a little surprised, and then looks at all of you, and then she sees Sister Delilah. And Sister Delilah's marking on her garb. And she gasps, though there's very little sound, as she basically begins to kind of step backwards, and she begins shaking her head as she kind of shuts down from all of you.
Oh.
It's
okay.
It's all right. It's all right.
She's nice. She's the nicest lady ever.
She does not believe that. She is wearing the Children of Adam symbol, and there seems to be some trauma there with that. And the Llama says, Muse, there's no need to worry. These people have left their weapons at the door, and they are following our ethos while they are here. You are in no harm. Show them. And she takes a moment to also her process through like the risk of what she's about to do. And she slowly kind of opens her book and thumbs through the pages. Those of you with good eyesight are welcome to we'll make a survival perception if you want to see if you see anything in the journal as she flips through before she gets to what she's looking for. That will be a custom roll. You'll need to use the blue and yellow D20 in the upper left of your character sheet.
I will give it a shot.
There are only 4 of you playing today, therefore you only have 4 action points. I also only have 4 action points.
Okay.
Nice. A 1.
That's not bad. That's not bad.
Yeah, Bub got a crit.
Bub got a crit. So, you know what? We're going to give this one... here's what I will tell the 2 of you that got basically regular successes, not with a crit, which was Delilah and Big Business. She's got a lot of writing in this journal. As she flips from front to back, right, because she's, like, trying to get to what she's looking for, you can see that, like, much of the early stuff... just at quick glance feels like a diary. Just stream of conscious writing with like date at the top, stream of conscious. Somewhere near the middle, that changes. It becomes more structured and templated the way that we would write poetry, right? In like stanzas or verse or like kind of weird stuff. And then it kind of goes back. And somewhere inside of the book, she finds what she's looking for, which is the number from the back of her vault suit. Just the number from, and it's small enough it fits in her book because it would have been a kid size at the time. And as she flips it open, you can see it has the number 88 on it. We probably hear Kalita sigh, realizing it's not from her vault, but it is a vault suit number. And never speaking, she just points to the kind of pressed piece of fabric in her book. And the Llama says, see, that wasn't so hard. She is, or at least was, from Vault 88, here in the Commonwealth, or so I have heard.
Oh, the numbers don't match.
Did I say anything different, Dot?
Oh, yes, you did. Oh, my God. Thank you for reminding me. Yes, you did. Mason, you process things faster because of your programming than the average person, and what you note. There's one thing in particular that really stands out to you. As she flips through and she gets to the section in the middle where the kind of poetry and prose start, You catch a page of some writing, and it seems familiar to you, as if you've read it before or you've heard it before. And it pings as she's showing off her vault number that writing was the propaganda you heard the last son of Adam read on the radio in episode 1.
Oh, interesting.
He did say she was a poet.
Was there a date attached to this?
Yes, it would have been, the storm rolled in 4 weeks ago. This would have been about 4 or 5 weeks ago.
And the propaganda that we had heard, it wasn't just like a repeat thing. That was a fresh thing that was announced.
He said it was the first time y'all had heard a couple things. This is that piece of propaganda, by the way. And you do have a printed, well, Sister Delia has a printed copy of it. Let me see if I can center that for everybody at home. This is like a properly printed one, but this is basically the gist of what he said over the radio. And this called out 2 major things. He made a stance against the other factions in the Commonwealth. That includes everyone, the Minutemen.
Yeah.
Basically said anybody that doesn't get on his side and supports these factions are basically against him. And they will perish when the day of division arrives.
Ooh.
That is kind of what you got from that. But yeah, there's a possibility that what you saw was Children of Adam propaganda inside of her journal is really the big takeaway from your critical success.
Did it seem mirrored, completely identical, or did this seem like this was like a Cliff Notes version or maybe an original pretext?
Like original draft. Right, you see things like marked out, rewritten, like this maybe is original draft. There's a possibility she wrote this.
She wrote this, yeah.
They stole it, potentially.
Yeah.
That piece you don't know, but
the metagame.
She wrote this, right? You definitely, Mason, are convinced that she at some point has been writing or has written Children of Adam propaganda.
Yeah. And I don't know, maybe this is a me thing, but I'm just asking for the rest of my cast here, my friends. You've been to a barber. Barbers are more than just people who cut hair. They
listen to the hot goss.
They listen to the gossip. They also help you level and speak about things in an unbiased notion. They're proper readers of people. And when the introduction of a vault dweller came up and then seeing Sister Delilah, I think everybody got a solid read on that. But after putting these things together, would it be safe to assume that Mason is just doing that basic math here and saying that there might be something, there's a stronger tether here to the Children of Adam than not?
You mean in Beatsville or just to Muse specifically?
Just to Muse specifically.
Yes, there is some kind of connection, though you don't know all the details to be able to put it together. She has probably had they said they found her on the edge of the glowing sea.
Yeah.
Now she's got this thing. So Muse there's something going on. But she herself does not look like, other than probably whatever it took to leave the glowing sea or get to that point, she's not gone under excessive radiation damage. So she doesn't wear the symbol, and she looked extremely suspicious of Sister Delilah. There was no hiding that. So the vibe you get is maybe she's not okay with the Children of Adam. Why she wrote their propaganda seems to be a mystery. And she hasn't said a word since y'all have met her.
Is she a child?
She is a child. She's about 8 or 9 years old.
8 or 9. Okay.
8 or 9 years old. Yeah, she's got this little journal, and she's got a little bag she clearly keeps like her stuff in. She acquired the bag here. It looks like Beatsville gear. Sure. And she's all cleaned up now. You can see there's maybe like some cuts or something that like are in the midst of healing, but she's been with them for a bit.
Like a month.
Yeah,
at least.
Dead Drop Dave may have more information because he did rescue her. He's the one who found her. But the llama, they have just given her a safe place.
Okay, noted. Is this llama character going to continue with a tour, or is he setting us free?
No, I think at this point he says, I must get to my day-to-day duties, and we do need to set up for tonight's event. Why don't you make yourself at home? Lunch is actually being served now. Dinner will be served later. And I imagine the people of Beatsville will be so welcome to all of you to see what you have to offer and what news of the outside world you bring. He says, it's been a delight to meet you. I will see you this evening. Peace be with you, huh? And he kind of nods as he walks away.
I think Mason will. You know what? Here.
Perhaps we should find a place of quiet, some solitude for us to speak without prying eyes or ears.
Yes, it was quite a lot that we just had to take in. I think I wouldn't mind just taking a quick breather.
I'm going to get more bread.
Perfect. Indulge for me, eat for two, because I cannot enjoy the same way you can.
And
Okay.
actually, the eating place is probably the least active, right? Everybody else has probably already had lunch, so y'all would be late. You'd sit by yourself. The table's massive. The space is massive. So you could have some privacy at the end of a table somewhere.
All right.
Oh, as the llama walks off, Minnie, he says, "Have a good afternoon, Minnie. Peace be with you." And Minnie uses
Muse or Minnie?
Muse. I'm sorry. Muse uses her hands to communicate with him. She waves. She does these gestures. He seems to somewhat understand, and he says, "Good," and pats her on the shoulder as they depart. And Minnie kind of Muse goes back off to her corner.
Okay.
I think it's important that we have a bit of a trade back and forth, a communication, open dialogue. It is in healthy regards to the children of Adam.
Oh, Mason, you would know what she said. Your programming, you know what she said. She says, "Peace be with you too. Thank you, Llama." And
So it's ASL.
right. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You have not seen anyone speak ASL before the bombs drop.
Oh,
Does she look over at us while, like, is she close to, like, where we're at our table, or is she pretty far
No.
away?
She goes off into a whole other section. She leaves, goes one way, the llama goes another, and leaves y'all to the tables.
Okay. If at any point we end up cycling back around, Mason will attempt to sign. I'm guessing he probably can sign with his scissor hand. Just, "Hi, I'm Mason."
Yeah, you could maybe get the basics in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you
Okay.
could teach one of your team to do it with their hands, and they could do it for you. But yes, you would be able to actually interpret for her, which you get the idea that most people here probably can't.
Sure. That's good. That's good to know. All right, I'll keep that in mind.
Now, the children of Adam. I will defer to you here, Sister Delilah, as you are more informed than myself.
what is it that you seem to have learned?
Well, as we've been roving the wasteland these past a few weeks or so, we've heard a lot of propaganda in regards to the man himself. What was his name? What does he call himself again?
The last son.
The last
Thank you,
son.
Mortimer.
Yes. It's interesting. He speaks of this day of division. Do you
Indeed.
know what this day of division is?
I don't think I know what the Day of Division is, no. But it seems like it is a very important day that this last son of Adam has seen and prophesied of. It's not something within our original holy texts, of course.
Interesting. And how old were you, if you could enlighten me, please?
I was young. I was born in a settlement where many of my family and people that I lived with were children of Adam.
So then you are probably in your late 20s, early 30s, presumably so.
Correct, yes.
In my construct date, I was anticipated to release, well, many months before, even years so at this point, and repurposed just before the original bombs had dropped. And I can tell you what a day of division looked like. It looked very quiet. It looked like there were less people. There were no more friends. There were no more interactions. It was solitude. It was darkness. The day of division is a splitting of an atom. I believe he's referring to dropping a bomb.
Sister Delilah looks puzzled at this. It's like when there's like a debate between like political people and like the person doesn't exactly know how to reply.
We have come from the memory den, correct? We had just seen some history from the memory den. These times were important, and you say of texts that lead to prophecy, but wouldn't it not be so strange to believe that this wasn't so much as a prophecy as much as it was simply a memory that was recorded?
A memory of when it was recorded.
Yes, the original day of division, the day that the bombs dropped.
I see, yes.
Now, I don't want to call into question your, the voice of your movement, but by your perceptions count, would you say it is bad that bombs dropped again?
I mean, Sister Delilah, that's the greatest way to fulfill the children of Adam.
I was gonna say, bad is not a word that I would put. Everything that happens in this world happens for a reason.
Of course. I am under that perception as well, and I am inclined to agree that everything happens for a reason. But wouldn't the voice of your declaration come to a halt, an end, if they were to die under these same bombs?
If my voice was to come to an end, it would only be because it is willed that way.
Willed by whom?
By the glowing light of Adam himself.
So your fate is in the hands of another man.
All of our fates.
And Adam is like God. He's not a man. The last son of Adam is like Jesus. He's a Messiah for this omnipotent.
Yes, also that is blasphemy what you are saying.
Of course,
Savoy.
of course. I'm simply just prospering and applying this as an application for communication. My question is, have you not had concerns yourself?
Many have doubts, but that doesn't mean that your faith is faltered for having doubts. Sure, whenever somebody comes and speaks of prophecies of being a Messiah, there are those who have doubts and questions, and there should be some doubt and question, but that is what I'm trying to discover, if this last son of Adam truly is the Messiah that we are looking for.
All right, alternative question. What is your opinion of children?
Children are like any other. They are a gift.
And they're pure until tainted, correct?
What are you trying to get at here?
What I'm getting at is, my solid read, is that all was well with the one referred to as Muse, until she discovered that you were a child of Adam. She's an exhibition of trauma, Sister Delilah. And, while none of you caught it, my 3 keen eye stalks found within her book, her journal, original text, sounded very similar to the voice of Adam himself. In fact, I would hesitate to say, more or less, that it may be original writings.
She is Adam?
No,
No.
I think she suffered under Adam. And while I may be a humble servant and simple barber, I believe no child should suffer.
I do not know what this Muse has gone through in their life, and I don't think any of us should make assumptions.
It's true. I shouldn't. A simple read. She was fine until she saw your symbol.
You know what I think, Mason?
Please enlighten me.
I think that I've been quiet enough in this place. Truly, I've listened to the warm welcomes of this place and the talk of enlightenment here. And while, yes, they do seem to have some level of enlightenment in this small establishment, There's something just missing, if you ask me. They're missing the point. All of this freedom of religion and creativity. They're missing the one thing that brings us all together. Just that.
No, they seem to have food. That's clear. They seem to have clean air, at least as clean as the rest of you. Unless you're referring to the shackles of religion, in which case I would be so inclined just to say that, yes,
they're
they are free of
missing
that.
faith is what they're missing.
I think they've discovered faith. Quite the opposite.
No, they haven't. And that is the problem with this place. Sure, it looks nice on the outside. They have all of this fresh bread and these lovely places to sell and buy and all of these things, but they are missing the whole point, Mason. And I don't know if I can sit idly by. It would be against my core beliefs to not do something about it.
So you wish to cause them suffering?
Suffering? No.
But you found something that you've declared as beautiful, as nearly perfect, yet it is devoid of the voice of your leader. And what are you to do when you interject the voice of your leader, your faith, your religion, and this beautiful thing is destroyed?
It will not be destroyed. It will be uplifted. It'll be changed.
Interesting.
It'll be the final piece in what they are missing here.
Perhaps they're not seeking your peace.
Are there people, I
We're
imagine...
exchanging words right now.
Are there
Mason
people
Our
can't-
voices
Mason
getting
can't
louder.
whisper.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say, and Delilah's, when you just get fired up and sometimes you just gotta raise your voice,
I would say there are people around. I'm not going to deny that fact for you. There are people around. They seem to avoid your radius at a wide berth. They're not interested in getting involved. These people don't fight. Arguments aren't their way. That's not how they resolve things. They don't know what to do with people raising their voices or having a heated conversation about religion. Also not part of their day-to-day life. So, everybody's kind of looking, but they're not staying in this room while y'all are having this conversation. Dead Drop Dave, on the other hand, he comes round and slaps a brand new basket of bread on the table. And he says, so, like, what's new? Did you like your tour? It seems that you're all a little excited.
Quite. I'll see that you enjoy your bread. I'm interested in speaking to this child. She has quite a few things to say, and no one is listening.
He says, I guess you could say Muse doesn't say much.
Perhaps you're just not listening well enough.
Oh, he said, I listened the whole way back carrying her from the glowing sea.
From the glowing sea?
Well, the outskirts of it, anyways.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I had a drop to make. I made the drop and found her. She was laying there almost dead. She muttered the whole way back. Barely made it, but look at her now. And he kind of gestures. She's like off in a corner, like scribbling in her journal again, not even noticing y'all are talking about her.
So she can speak, she just doesn't.
I can't answer that for you, man. She's never spoken to me.
I thought you said that. I thought he said that
She muttered. Yeah, her mouth made noises, but like.
Okay, so it wasn't like words.
No,
it was like,
not words.
okay.
It was like mutterings and
Right.
gruntings and things like that. He said, but she did open up, I guess, on our travels back when she was conscious. She sure likes that book of hers.
Business will turn and look at Mason and say,
"Ooh, something is wrong with you. You're talking about bad things, destruction, and suffering. What is wrong?"
It's from when I was supposed to.
What?
Back before this originally started, I was designated to allocate myself at Mason's Marvelous Mane and Culture. A simple barber. But the bombs dropped. Everything's bad. I lost. Au point, I wandered aimlessly in a 15 by 11-foot room. Do you know what it's like to lose purpose and wander aimlessly for over 100 years?
No.
Nope.
It's awful! Absolutely terrible! I wish to not see it again. But more importantly, not because I wish to point blame, and not to say it is one man's fault or another, but because I simply wish not to lose the friends that I have gathered in this time. I treasure the few of you that I have, and I wish that you would stick around. By no man's will I see it go under and asunder.
Okay. Why don't we? You keep saying that the children are going to do something bad. Why don't we see if the girl knows the bad things they're going to do?
Precisely, which is why I wanted to speak with Muse.
Dead Drop Dave kind of waves at her. She looks up over like her book and waves back, and he gestures for her to come over to the table. She's hesitant, but she kind of puts the book in her bag and walks over very shyly.
Business, if you don't mind and you would assist me, I would like to teach you something.
Okay.
Business.
You'll have to allow me your hand. I'm going to teach you a few things.
Oh, okay. Which one?
Whatever one is your dominant hand.
They look the same size to
He
you.
stares at his hand.
Which one do you punch with?
Oh, this one.
Perfect, your dominant hand.
Okay.
And as Muse is coming over, he's using his arms to guide the shape of your hand and try to basically putty you into introducing yourself in ASL.
So what's funny is Zach, as the player, I actually know how to
Sign it?
sign my name in ASL.
Same.
Big Business would not. I mean, well,
yeah.
even if being guided, he has 4 intelligence. So I'm wondering if I can make a check to see if he can even learn.
How about
that.
this? You learn nothing. It's like somebody telling you how to say something in Spanish and you just repeat what you think you hear. That's kind of what's happening with your hands. It's not exact by any sense of the word, but she tries to make sense of it. And Mason, you'll be able to interpret out to her as she begins signing. Do you introduce yourself as Big Business? Excuse me. She introduces herself as Minnie Maybe. Minnie, yeah.
I point at the thing I do have is that the briefcase, the old corporate briefcase, has a bunch of words scratched out, but the only ones that are left is Big Business.
So she can read. And she says, because like maybe your B was wrong, or like like something wasn't quite right, and she was like confused. But Mason, she responds back, my full name is Minnie Maybe.
Muse is what she goes by, but her name is Minnie Maybe. Minnie Maybe, Muse. Muse, this is my friend, Big Business. My friend Mortimer, and my dear friend Sister Delilah.
It's kind of like an embarrassed kid getting introduced to all the adults. She kind of digs her foot in, and she definitely keeps distance from Delilah.
And my name is Mason.
She signs, "It's nice to meet you all."
It's a pleasure to meet you as well. She says that it's nice to meet you.
Oh, that's good.
Dave's... Oh, yeah, go ahead.
If I could have a moment of your time, please. I see that you've learned to communicate with sign language. It's a bit dead in these times, but I've been taught in so many ways.
She smiles. Nobody ever can speak her language, right? It's like somebody... That's exciting. That somebody can understand her.
I can try, but it's very difficult interpreting what scissors can make. So if you'll bear with me.
And she says, and pulls out some paper from her notebook.
So that you like your notebook there. You've written in it quite a great deal.
She's very proud of it.
Who taught you how to read and write?
She signs my dad.
Your dad. Where is your dad today?
She looks very sad instantly. In the belly of the beast is what she signs to you.
That's very foreboding. Are you referring to the sea?
She says the giant metal beast. The Mirage.
Is it a roving structure? It's pulled by Brahman. So then he is not deceased. He's still alive.
She signs, I don't know.
Well, that's some news.
He was alive when they took me.
It appears that Muse's father, the one who taught her how to read and write, has found himself in the belly of a large metal beast being pulled by Brahman. I believe that is the Mirage.
She points like, yeah, that's it.
Muse, we are also looking for the Mirage.
You don't want to go there.
No, I simply do not want to go there, but it is not for myself, but for my friend Kalita and her hound, Dogmeat. Her husband is inside, and as you can tell, she is having a baby. Much like, well, how you came into this world.
She smiles. She's probably never seen, at least not since the vault days, a pregnant woman. And she pets the pupper. And she signs, why would you be looking for something there? Or someone there?
Well, she's finding someone she loves. It's complicated emotion, one I've not fully grasped yet, though I think I found something similar.
She says, well, anybody that goes there now doesn't come back.
That's what they say about this place.
She says, yeah, but people don't come back because they choose to stay here. She signs. The Mirage swallows them whole.
She says it swallows them whole. It's like a Monstro experience. I don't know if you remember the tale of Pinocchio.
I love that book, she signs.
Ah, yes, classic literature. Some things never age. And when they do, they age well.
She signs, she signs, is it true that you're heroes? You save people?
Whom? Us. The few of us. I don't know if we're quite heroes.
I've saved a couple people, and
But we've helped people.
She looks really excited when you say the words help and saved and some people.
yeah.
She says, can you save my dad?
I'd like to think that we can try.
Will you
But
bring him
there's
here?
Yes, I think that we can try to do that. I don't want
If
to
we
speak for
make
the rest of my comrades, but I certainly wouldn't have a problem trying.
If we make it to the Mirage to find Kalita's husband, we'll see if we can find your dad too.
And she throws like arms around Mortimer's legs and like hugs him really tight, and gestures thank you. And she says, she signs, just be careful. You don't want to get recruited.
Muse. Continuing, though. I saw something troubling that I think that you might be able to assist me with.
Me? She points at herself. Like, what
Yes.
could I do?
My friend here, Delilah. We've been traveling for the last 4 or 5 weeks together. We've become very close. I trust in her. And her way is not lost. She has her own faith that she abides by, but she puts stock in her common man, in her allies, her friends nearest to her. And we have some concerns. She doesn't want to stray her path. But something may be misguiding her. This is, of course, my own concern, something that she doesn't necessarily believe in, but I want to know about that symbol.
And he points to Delilah's symbol of Adam.
The mark. She says, I've never seen that symbol before.
Never.
You're pointing to the symbol on my jacket, the Adam.
that one. She's seen that. I thought you meant the necklace that Delilah had taken off Brother Landon. She says, that's the symbol for the children of Adam.
Have you had experience with them? Can you
Yes.
tell me about that, please?
You can tell, like, anytime somebody has to relive trauma, there's always some hesitation, and you can kind of see it. And she's almost a little embarrassed to say it because Delilah's there. Like, she doesn't want to hurt Delilah's feelings, but at the same time, she's got some tea.
Business is gonna nudge Mason as well. I feel like a couple things are gonna happen here, but business is gonna nudge Mason and kind of like point at his hair clippers. That's all.
Does she have much hair?
She has a lot of hair. It's blonde, and it's in 2 very messy pigtail braids.
Aw.
Perhaps then we find a moment where just you and I talk. Would that make you feel safer? And I can show you to some manicuring. We can treat your look. Give you an updo, if you will. Something that is better fitting of you. In my previous life, I was a professional barber.
Oh, she knows what that is. You cut hair, she gestures.
I am a beautician.
And she kind of smiles, noting that, like, her hair has clearly not had a lot of attention. And based on the split ends alone, it's been a very long time since she's had a haircut.
Marvelous hair of great magnitude. You desire something poignant, something that commands the room.
And she says that, kind of gestures like, that might be nice. And she says, but I'm not afraid, I'm embarrassed.
Can you explain to me? Completely unbiased. And I will not judge you.
She looks to Dave for, like, some confirmation that it's okay to maybe share, because she's never shared this much before. And Dave goes, it's all right, kid. It's cool. They just want to help, remember? And she kind of nods, reminding herself that, like, y'all are going to help her find her dad. And, like, so she kind of takes a deep breath, having never told anyone what maybe she's about to reveal. And Mason, it really puts your ASL language to the test, because she begins signing pretty rapidly as she begins kind of laying things out. And this is what Muse tells you. She says, my family was vault dwellers. Raiders ran us from our home, and we built the Mirage after. So you get the idea that maybe all the Mirage settlers are probably from Vault 88. She says everything was great until the storm. Then the Brahmin started to die, and the last son of Adam came and offered help, but only if I went with him. He threatened everybody's life unless I left with him.
Why did he choose you, Muse, over the others?
Because I speak with my hands.
You're quiet.
He wanted me to teach a creature how to speak, or how to understand ASL. He kidnapped me, blindfolded me, and took me to the glowing sea. I don't know where we were, but he made me stick my hands through holes in the wall and teach this massive creature sign language.
It appears that Muse's family and the original dwellers of Vault 88 were the ones that had designed the massive superstructure known as the Mirage. And that everything was fine until the storm had hit. Once the storm had hit, the Brahmin began to die. The last son of Adam had arrived to the Mirage and made a declaration that he would assist them if they accepted his aid. To which they agreed. And then she was abducted. She was taken away to the glowing sea, where she was forced to teach a creature. Large. Yes, Muse, a very large creature.
Like her little arms stretch as far as they can.
Was it bigger than big business? Bigger than him. How to also communicate with sign language. The reason she was selected over the others was because she could not speak. Muse, do you know why I didn't ask anyone else? Why would you wish to keep something like this a secret?
It wasn't about keeping it a secret. It's that nobody else could communicate with the creature. He needed someone who spoke a language nobody else could speak. And she says, and I did it. I taught the creature to understand ASL. And the day before I was to start training his flock, I escaped. And I ran, and Dead Drop Dave found me.
Do you know what this creature was?
All I can remember seeing are lots of legs. And the sound it made when it cried.
It was a very large creature with many legs, more than 4.
Yeah.
Would you say it was fuzzy? Furry, hairy creature?
No,
Like human legs.
like insect.
Oh.
Would this be a death claw?
She knows what that is. She says, no. She said,
Bigger than a death claw.
she said many hundreds of times 4 legs.
It's like a red roach.
She points like that's much closer.
Oh, I got it right.
In your journal, you wrote something that was spoken on the radio.
She nods in, this is the embarrassing part, right? She nods in embarrassment.
Did he tell you to write that? What were to happen if you wouldn't have written that, Muse?
He would have found me obsolete.
He would have found you obsolete. And what does that mean?
Other people who are obsolete used to disappear.
They would disappear. Because they're of no more use, they would disappear.
Like be sneaky. Or oh.
She says, that's...
Mortimer,
Yeah, go ahead.
Mortimer leans in to read the journal if she doesn't like, if she slides it back, then I leave it.
She probably
but-
immediately kind of does, and then realizes that it's you specifically, Mortimer, and she lets you. It's kind of like letting her most prized possession go. And Mortimer, as you flip through the book, you can see there's all kind of wear and tear. But to solidify what you saw earlier, the early part of this journal is an actual journal. In fact, it starts sometime when she was still in the vault, like early years of her time in the vault. And it seems that she started this journal because her mother died in childbirth, which is why she only has a father. And so this was probably like a vault tech therapy thing, right? It was like, write your feelings in this book. And then much deeper in, like midway through the book, that's when things start to change. And you can see that she does have some poetry in here, but the chunk that's Children of Adam focused is all propaganda. Some of it's good, some of it's bad, but it does seem familiar. Mason's right. And you can tell that these were early drafts. She would cross something out and rewrite something. It seems that it wasn't just the ASL he wanted, but her talents as a wordsmith serves the Children of Adam well when you're trying to populate propaganda.
Delilah, I am not trying to call into question your faith. I think that everyone is entitled to their own personal faith. I simply call into question the man, the minister, the one that is preaching the faith. What their intentions may be, and if they are manipulating the masses, that is my concern.
Delilah doesn't say anything. She doesn't respond.
And Muse looks right at Mortimer, and she signs, even if Mortimer can't understand it. I'm sorry.
She's sorry.
I didn't know what he would do with this.
She wasn't aware what he would do with this.
She was doing what she was told. We do what we have to do to survive. And he's like flipping through, and he's like looking at different like bits of like propaganda that he's heard, like bits from radios and stuff, and he gets to the text that is on the pamphlet that Delilah has, and he's sort of reading it through. And he starts to laugh. He's like, "You're a smart kid." And he slides it back over.
She looks really she looks happy, right? Like, yeah.
And his hand is on the first paragraph of that pamphlet.
Mm-hmm.
And exactly what those words were.
Let's see. Let's find out what those
I can read you the part that made him laugh.
And I'll pull it up on the
It was the beginning of the Children of Atom pamphlet. It was many groups, organizations, and factions claim to protect the people of the Commonwealth, but their true mission is to extort and enforce their will. You know them by their weapons, violence, and inequitable leadership. They've rendered the masses blind, holding hostage your futures and delaying your deliverance.
She smiles like, you got it. That obviously there's some reflection there. And she signs, life is art.
Life is art.
Life is art.
We rebel in the ways that we can, in the space that we have.
And she nods. Like, you can tell as an 8-year-old girl, she's done everything that she could. And so much of it was forced upon her. You can tell that this is not what she wanted. But she looks at Mortimer when she says this. And she says, I'm really scared for the people of Beatsville. He's still looking for me, and they don't know that.
She says that she's afraid for the people, the regulars of Beatsville. He is apparently looking for her and has maybe caught wind that she might be here.
I will have to make sure that he never finds out.
Yes, we will smash him.
Muse, what would he do if he were to find you here?
He would take me back to finish what we started.
And what if the people wouldn't allow that? They thought that you were safer here. What would he do to this place?
He would convert them.
Conversion therapy. Interesting. Perhaps I begin converting your hairstyle. How do you feel about a fishtail braid? Or bohemian braids, you tell me.
Yes, is her response. And maybe Mason, you and her walk to a stool so you can get started on her hair. And as she walks away, Dave looks at the rest of you kind of at the table, and he says, you know, that's the most she's talked to anyone since I found her weeks ago. I'm gonna have to tell the llama for the safety of the community.
About what?
Well, about them looking for her. It makes a lot more sense now why all those children of Adam have been asking about trying to find Beatsville.
We won't tell anyone.
I'm ashamed to say we have made some contact. When I found her, I was delivering a stack of flyers. Some kind of pamphlet that had been ordered. I haven't made a trip that far south since then, but I don't know, man.
Business looks at Delilah and says,
well, I'm sorry because you're very nice, but your dad sounds very mean. I don't want to be his son anymore.
If you all don't mind, I need to take some time to pray.
Okay.
And Delilah steps away.
Delilah, do you go to the shared communal space with pillows, or do you find like a different nook to pray?
Yeah, you know what? She would go to the shared communal space, I think.
Yeah, you can. There are plenty of pillows. You can find a pillow off on the side, and kind of take to yourself for a moment. And as you do, you feel the presence of somebody else kneel next to you, though they do not disturb you.
Okay. Yeah, I think Delilah is very conflicted at this time. And she's not sure the right path from the things that she heard from her brothers and sisters along the path. It's very clear the creative that they're looking for is this child. But hearing her story, it had to be a kid. Like, if it was an adult, she wouldn't give a shit.
I may have wrote it that way.
It had to be a kid. So now Delilah is very conflicted. So she's just gonna sit and that's her inner monologue right now.
Yeah.
So yeah,
You're kind of having a moment, and you hear
Yeah.
a very calm, quiet voice. It is the llamas who has kneeled next to you, and he says, "You seem troubled, Sister Delilah. Such a furrowed brow for prayer."
There is much conflict in my soul.
Over?
Many things. Not straying from the path. Making sure that I am following the right path.
No one knows the right path, Delilah. Not until we've already walked it.
It is true that the future is uncertain, but it is faith and hope that keeps us going.
I actually agree with you there. Those without faith in something lack the most primal part of what it is to be alive. And hope. Hope is built off of our faith. That the thing we believe in will bring a better tomorrow. Do you believe that the children of Adam will bring a better tomorrow?
I do.
And he says that it is not your faith that you're struggling with, but your leader.
She nods.
And he says, we may not have religion here, but we still have things to believe in. We have built our community devoid of politics and religion so that we can be empty, to be our most creative selves, to live our faith of creativity at all cost. I may guide these people, but I am not their leader. We are somewhat leaderless. It's a rather freeing thing. It is the essence of pure rebellion. You don't have to lose your faith. The path that this last son of Adam walks does not have to be the path that you walk.
Perhaps that is my calling then.
And he says, well, if you found nothing else at Beatsville, I hope it is a solid path.
Thank you for everything, for showing us around and your hospitality and your guidance.
Of course. And he reaches out a very platonic hand, right, as he puts it on yours for comfort. And he says, well, the evening is just beginning. And I hope when you go back out in the world, you remember that protecting some things can be just as powerful as destroying them.
She nods at that.
And he says, I will see you this evening.
Yes.
And he gets up and walks away to leave you back to your prayer. Mason, as you found it, kind of, you've brushed her hair, you've trimmed the ends, you've started the braid, and all of you are kind of gathering. The rest of you hear this clattering kind of coming through the shared eating space, and you see 4 men. Dressed somewhat similarly, I guess you could say to match or in the same aesthetic, though not the exact same garb. But they all have these identical, like, bowl-shaped haircuts. And they kind of come in as a gaggle, a group. And they're like, yeah, man, it's gonna be great, man. Can't wait, man. And they're muttering amongst themselves. And Dead Drop Dave goes, our resident superstars, the Jam Bakers.
Like the bread. They make bread
No,
or jam.
they make music.
Oh, the band. Okay. When do they make the music?
Well, they'll make some music tonight, I imagine. And fingers crossed it's not their last show here in Beatsville.
What will determine that?
Everybody here in Beatsville walks their own path. Maybe you should go ask them.
Mason just focuses in on Muse's hair because 4 chili bowls just ruins his mental. He just can't. So he's just like,
It's just like
stay
the
in it, stay in
worst,
it.
like, bowl cuts, yeah.
Yeah.
And as you were kind of like braid, you can see them. They're fumbling. They seem to be discussing maybe tonight's performance in some way. Like, it's like, no, man, we gotta open with a banger, yo. Something that'll get their feet tapping.
I asked Dave,
What will happen if they try to leave?
I don't know, man. I'm not an oracle. You can only find one of those at Big Top. And he kind of winks like he knows something you don't.
But will the people be mad?
There will be many people here concerned. The llama will find himself rather upset. It does put the community at, like, danger. It puts them in danger. Look at them, and you look over, and these are, like, 4 scrawny guys. They're not trained to fight. Like, they're bards, in essence. They're just with no magic. They're just musicians. They have no roadies, no groupies, and no security. And he's like, look at them, man. They're fighting over which song to play first tonight. The Wasteland's gonna eat them up.
It's a high-profile group that people will know come from Beatsville.
And
it's an obvious target to get in.
He says, that's my concern. If the last son of Adam gets his hands on them, he will squeeze that information out of them. But they can't take my word for it. Some artists have to do it themselves. Learn through experience, man.
I get the feeling they might, even if they go, they'll probably be back like the next day. It's pretty horrible out there right now.
As we can only hope. But it is something new for us, and we don't vote or have political discussions or debates, so if they want to leave, they can leave.
Maybe we can talk some sense into them.
Go for it.
okay, I think while is Mason still cutting hair at this point as the band's getting ready to play? I don't know where that falls.
Mason, it depends on how much time you want to spend on this hair.
I think, Mason's not gonna. He's never known for half-assing an experience, especially someone like her right now.
Right.
People need that, right? It's just what he does. He would probably also realize her situation and not fully understanding the grasp of where Sister Delilah is. I think he's going to ask her,
what are the odds that you spring this location? What I mean, What's keeping you tethered to this place?
I'm safe here.
For how long?
I don't know.
What if you were to come with us?
Go back out there. She gestures up, like, back into the wasteland. Because, I mean, you have to think, this girl grew up in a vault, then she grew up in a steel trap, in essence, and then now she's here. She's only ever lived in isolated communities. She's not actually built to live in the wasteland. But she says, it's scary up there.
Of course it is. There's terror at every turn.
She goes, I dream of my father coming here to live with me.
What if you were to go out and find your father with us?
But then I have
Bring
to
him back here.
go back to Mirage. And she kind of looks at you like, I don't know.
I understand. It is scary. But I'm afraid of what might happen if you were to stay here.
Why?
I mean, Mason, we could make sure that they don't find the place if we, take them out.
How can we guarantee that, big business?
We killed the last son.
Oh, I believe that might be very difficult for someone such as Sister Delilah. She might struggle with this. This would be a point of issue, a contingency, if you will. She's torn. A river splitting currently. There are two rapids running in different directions.
But if we don't kill him, he might do other bad things.
The question is, why do we have to kill anyone? What is the point of that? Killing never got us anywhere.
Well, it gets you to be alive if someone tries to kill you.
I suppose defense is one thing. I'm inclined to agree. I think everyone should be freely capable of defending themselves.
Okay, well, good. We're going to go kill him then.
You actually see her say, I agree with you. I tried to convince them to put turrets outside in the junkyard, but the llama won't allow it.
So then they have no line of defense. Mr. Business here, he wouldn't see you come to any form of harm, would you, Mr. Business?
No.
See, his propensity is growing before our very eyes. Big business is simply small at this point. We need Mr. Immense Industry. That's what I'll call you from this point forward. Immense Industry.
Oh, okay. My propensity is growing.
It is.
She says, can I think about your offer?
Of course you can. There is no pressure.
She says, good. I have to go change my dress for tonight.
Look your best. Your hair is finished. Have a lovely half braid. Run in Bohemian style.
She says, thank you. And she scribbles something in her book, and she rips it out, and she folds it up, and she hands it to you, Mason. The little piece of paper. And she says, don't open it now. Okay. And then she kind of like runs off with her book in her hand, leaving all of you. And the hustle and bustle in this room is now picking up. People are trying to grab dinner. There's some kind of hot soup. Sister Delilah, you can sit in your prayer as long as you want. But eventually the sound test begin for the band. And Delilah, you see these four men walk on the stage. They begin kind of taking places. They have like this strange hipstery vibe about them. As they kind of do a rough sound check here or there. But dinner will be served for all of you. And just as dinner's maybe ending, most people are finishing, and you can hear the sound of the feedback of the microphone, and the excitement of the evening's festivities grow. The door to the radio station swings open as the on-air light flicks off. And out walks this man in an oversized coat and baggy matching pants. He has this box, this orange metal box that hangs at his waist that has a microphone attached to it. It seems to be some kind of carrying PA system. He's behind a large set of glasses, and he has these dreads, Mason. These long dreads that probably haven't been chopped in decades. And a nice kind of shaved, clean goatee. Actually, this is what he looks like. There he is.
Oh.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Style.
Style. Yeah, he comes out, and there's kind of a hush that falls over the space, a respect in the room as this man walks out. And people are like, oh my God, it's him. Oh my God, it's DJ Daddy. Oh my God. As the whispering continues. And he says, hey, Beatsville, it's DJ Daddy-O. You ready for tonight's party? And everybody's like, wow. There's like shouting and people are like screaming. And he says, well, put on your dancing shoes, cats, because we're about to kick this party off. And he kind of, in a cool way, like steps like he's going into the next room. People are like trying to get their dishes done, and they're like, oh my God, it's gonna start, we're gonna miss it. And there's this kind of excitement that happens as a lot of the people pour out of the room following him, leaving you and a few others, maybe Dead Drop Dave, who's not quite as impressed with the antics, in this room, as you can kind of hear the concert about to begin. And for tonight, for today, because we do not have Maggie, why don't we end there so that Kalita gets her chance to ask some much needed questions, I imagine, out of Beatsville. And we will pick up next week with a live performance and maybe some shopping, because I think y'all wanted to ask about some hats and some other things. Mason, I imagine there are plenty of hairs that need to be cut. So yeah, we'll stop there. I want to thank everybody for coming out, for coming to watch the show. I don't know, if you hated it, tell your enemies. If you loved it, tell your friends. But tell everybody about the show. Okay, yeah, it doesn't matter. Just
Because
tell
if you
somebody.
hated it, your enemies will probably like it.
Love it. So, tell somebody about the show, and if you are watching this on YouTube, make sure that you like and subscribe. That stuff helps us out so much. We want to hear your comments. I try to troll you a little bit over on YouTube, and if you really want to get in on the conversation, make sure you pop over to the Discord, where you can join all of our fans, get some fresh Fallout emotes for this show, and come talk to the players. I feel like the waters are getting murkier, like of where people stand on things, and there's a lot of questions out right now, but not necessarily all the answers. So we're gonna go talk about that in an after show. I have plans this week to get caught up on those after shows, and if you want access to those to hear a little bit about what we're thinking about behind the scenes, you can head on over to Patreon.com /podbynight and get in on the action. I think that's the big stuff. Oh, we want to let everybody know, if you are a fan of Cracked Crown, our podcast, we are in a little bit of a couple week break because Mark Meir and Jason Torrance Miller are like super famous people, and they're like traveling the world right now. When they get back, we will be recording the kind of 2 finale parts for the closeout of this season. So we appreciate your patience. We will have that to you before December rolls around, and then we're gonna
freeze.
Oh, am I here? I'm sorry, did I freeze?
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
You're good. It scared us. Jump scare.
Yeah, so we're gonna we'll get that to you before December is done, and then we're gonna have something maybe new coming to podcast format. It's something we've been pontificating on for a while, and in fact, you'll hear 4 of 5 voices in the thing coming to podcast format. So yeah, that's all I can say to that. I think that's all we've got for now. Anything else, everybody?
Man, I think that's it.
If you want to find these cool folks that you see on the screen, click the links below. They are in the description. Go follow them. And don't forget to check out our Instagram. Go to Instagram. Search Pod by Night. Come join us. I'll try really hard to keep it interesting. All right, everybody. That's all I've got for you today. That's all we've got for you today. We will see you next week for more Fallout Winter of Adam. Bye, everybody.